Welcome everyone to round 6 of the season, tier 1, season 2 at Hungary. And for race 6, I am joined by Milo Gaming, the co-commentator always for tier 1. How are you doing?
Well, thanks. Bit of a wacky weekend so far, hasn't it? So hopefully things can run smoothly today, and by the looks of it, it is.
It is what? You cut out there.
Oh, I just said it is running very smoothly.
Oh, you just cut out there. I wasn't sure what you said. But yeah, qualifying so far, and this weekend so far has been pretty good, I will say. Wacky weekend for sure. We've had a restart in tier 3, the odd race there, and then there was the there was tier 2 where we had a delay, and then we had a restart, and then we also had a ton of stuff go on during that weekend. Milo Gaming, you raced yesterday, and how did that all go? And kind of explain this weekend so far to any viewers.
Well, tier 2 was honestly such a challenge. We had the very rare monsoon conditions in the game, which if you don't know what that is, it's... if you ever have it in career mode or a dynamic league race, it's the 3 diagonal streaking lines coming out of the cloud. Very, very severe downpour that often causes a safety car due to the severity of the weather. It's very bizarre, and we did in fact have a safety car, but it also, not only that, it changed back to mostly sunny conditions. But at the end, Jeff was on the radio, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. So there was so much to think about in that race. It was certainly a challenge, and track limits can be very harsh around here. If you overstep the limits towards turn 4, 5, some of the curbs can put you offline as well, so there's even an awful lot to think about in the drive. Tier 3 as well, we had someone ignoring their qualifying ban, so there was a restart in that. Again, a rain affected race, so for the first time this weekend it is a dry race throughout and qualifying. Mr. Boca around the final corner though. Proves.
Not as much though. Yeah, I mean, we saw in tier 3, the mixed conditions that go from inners to dry. First time winner in tier 3, we had the safety car, well, not a safety car. Yeah, we did have a safety car at the beginning of the race. Histy almost took his first win, and it almost was Red Bull's first win in every tier. That'd be the first time any team has ever done that. So, obviously, that'd be an interesting stat to think about, an interesting stat to talk about if it actually happened, but it didn't. Out of Fab 1 in tier 2, the mixed conditions wet to inters to dry. I mean, it was a mess with how the weather was, for sure. That's something we could say. Anyways, I'm glad you're fixing that mic. Let's go over the point standings. Hopefully you can see it on our screen now. Here are the point standings. I've got the top 10 up of the driver standings, the top 5 of the constructor standings. I couldn't get up the graphic we have for it. I tried to with my phone. I've tried to before. It doesn't work with my phone and the USB cord going into there. And you do have an echo. Anyways, here is the standings. The top 3, obviously, Boker, Rappalucas, Felipe, but guys down in 4th. Really big surprise considering the fact last season in standings he came in around the Canada time, USA Canada time, and he was only down in 8th, 9th, 10th, around there in standings at the end of the season. So the thing is with Sam, the fact he's sitting 4th in standings right now is incredible. He's done very well so far, Milo, and hopefully you've got that mic fixed. Is Milo there?
I finally fixed it. That's so annoying.
Alrighty.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, Sam up into P4, Milo, and the big surprises so far this season. What have you thought about the standings in the top 10 we see right now?
Sam, after a brilliant comeback last week, was involved in the lap 1 chaos at turn 2 and turn 3, as we see Rizal going to provisional pole. It's also a surprise to see Rizal one of the quicker drivers here, can really challenge Mr. Boca on most tracks. He's got basically under a quarter of his points so far, so that is a surprise to say the least. And Atlantis, his teammate, just ahead of him. Very, very consistent driver, Atlantis. Points, what's the streak? It's a really, really incredible run of points he's on.
12 races in a row. Could go 13 today.
12
Could it end today?
races.
I mean, I don't know. It's been ever since USA last season, which race 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 down to last season, and then the first 5 races so far, that's been 12 races. So he's got 12 consecutive points finishes. And Rappalucas, Boca, and Atlantis are the only ones to finish in the points so far this season, in every race. Interesting stat there. Anyways, I gotta mention a few things about some drivers. F1 driver down start to the season, but Polo got more points than last season already. Atlantis in the top 10, or not Atlantis. Atlantis in the top 10, but Tax down at 10th. He was 3rd last season at the end of the season in points. As well, Graham goes up to P5 from all of that. Anyways, though, Felipe goes up to P3 as well. But the constructor standings, Renault kind of are losing that lead to Williams a little bit. With the way it looks, they're losing that lead. Milo Williams gained a lot of points last race with Graham not being in the points standing, or the points at all. And Ferrari are close behind too.
Yeah, Graham has definitely been the second driver. Mr. Boca is humiliating him at that team, and Rappalucas has given up on qualifying. Unfortunately, he straight lined the wall and didn't lose his wheel, so that didn't go to plan. But yeah, Graham has just the 7 points, I think it is, to Mr. Boca's 109, so they don't have 2 consistent drives in that team. They only have the one in Mr. Boca, whereas Williams with Rappalucas suddenly slowly improving DW, he's getting back to where he was in terms of pace. He is qualifying on the soft tyres though, so he's taking a lot of gambles to try and get them ahead of Renault. So this is a really intriguing battle that will not be over until the final race.
Yeah, a lot of things can change. F1 driver does go to the top, yeah. So Renault, Williams, Ferrari, Alfa, Toro Rosso is the top 5 in the standings. Toro Rosso, Alfa, and Ferrari in their own battle, but 25 points separate that gap for the race lead in the standings in the constructors. So qualifying ends, but DW goes to the top, and he's looking to take the most poles in ARL with 5 poles. Mr. Boker goes up to P5. I don't think that's enough to maybe get even faster. No, just behind John, but ahead of Rappalucas, Rizona ahead of him along with F1 driver. Bohr tense up. John, not one of his best racetracks. I've talked to him about this already. He's practiced with the Red Bull boys to see his pace. And now, where does he go? Goes to the top by 5 1,000ths over DW. Closest pole position so far. He's on provisional pole. Down at the very back, Bama, Jarv, Trash, and Sam Seed all complete some laps. Polo God comes to the line at 7th.
Sam in last place. He was 4th last week after an incredible comeback, as previously mentioned. I think he might be on another lap. I don't know. Actually, no, it's checkered flag. Never mind.
Mr. Boker not trying on a time, but you also have Felipe slow on as well. So the closest pole position as of right now, from what it looks like. Don't think Mr. Boker will steal that. I don't see it happening. Not with how much is going left. So it is John stealing the pole away from DW. 5 1,000ths. The front 2 softs. And as well, the 2 Renaults in the top 10 as well. The first time I think in qualifying this season. Since France. Most recent time. Back 5 races ago.
Yeah, and Rappalucas just behind Mr. Boca as well. That championship gap is slowly coming down with Rappalucas' victory last week in extreme circumstances. He had to defend from him the whole race. This time he'll be the one attacking Mr. Boca. So reverse roles on this occasion.
Yeah, still very close from the guys on mediums no matter what. I know there's 2 guys on softs in the first place, but John takes his 2nd pole in ARL. DW close to getting the most pole positions this weekend in ARL, not enough. He starts on the soft tires. F1 driver, Rizone, Boker is your top 3 other guys on the mediums. And then you have Rappalucas, Polo God, Felipe, Tax, Graham running out the top 10. Behind that, you also have Axe, Ricochet, Sam Steed, some big names outside the top 10 right there, Milo.
It is very surprising to see that. Obviously, it is a long race, but not the overtaking zones. A lot of downhill and uphill corners, which do provide opportunity, but it's just risk versus reward. Turn 1 will be their main hope of gaining some positions and strategy and safety car on the fresher tyres starting outside the top 10. For F1 driver as well, on honourable mention, he's third place, he's fastest on the mediums. So is this his race to lose now? We'll have to find out. Session starting in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I've talked to the Alfa Romeo boys before this race. I've talked to the Ferrari boys, the Williams boys. Dylan, I've practiced with him before with the corner cutting, really cut the chicane a lot, but that was obviously a 25% race we were practicing in. We don't know how that could go. I also saw some practice from the Alfa Romeo boys. Those guys work together with some DRS tactics, obviously. Same with Ferrari, those two, and Dylan spinning on the formation lap again. He's done it again!
Oh
no. Not surprised about that one, but yeah, F1 driver Marzone ahead of Boker on the mediums. You know, they gotta have the race pace. Boker has kind of been like the Mercedes in real life from last season on 2019. They've had, you know, decent quality pace with Renault, but the race pace is right there with Boker. He always gets everyone else's race pace. That seems like the 2019 season a little bit, because Ferrari were the ones getting poles a lot. It's a mixture between teams this season, so obviously different compounds, different stuff changes all that. Anyways, Milo Gaming, go through your 2 or 3 favorites. So I'll let you choose 3, I guess. I'll choose 2.
I'll start from the back. Sam Steed, again, I'm mentioning it. We know what he can do from towards the back of the grid, especially with those fresh to medium tyres. Involved at the turn 2 collision at Spain last week. He's got to do it all over again today. GSR Axe outside the top 10, running on the dominant square account. Maybe that will give him some better luck going into the race. We'll have to see. Rap Lucas as well behind Mr. Boker. The second of the 2 Williams also has gone off there. Polo God has made an error on the formation lap. He has to attack Mr. Boker in this scenario.
Wow. I don't know who to go with though. F1 driver fastest on the mediums. It is very hard. It looks to be a competitive race, but it's a full dry race. F1 driver put some practice into this race, and he was more confident about himself into this race. He looked to possibly steal a win from Rizone or Boker, and I also have to go with Rizone, of course, and I might go 3 with this. Rizone, he's yet to finish a race on the podium, excluding Singapore. He's DNF'd 3 of the races he's done out of the 5 so far. Rizone is today the race. His luck turns around in Polo God. I've got to mention, you know, didn't commentate yesterday, and he's done decent in practice. He's had decent pace in time trial. Time trial don't mean crap, but you never know. Polo God can maybe transfer that over to the race, and maybe we could see Polo God close and fighting for that podium one more time again today. Anyways, 5 red lights upon us here in Hungary. Here we go for the 5 red lights and the start of the Grand Prix. We are about to go away, and we are away. Green flag is waving. DW doesn't get off the line very well. Rizone gets better. F1 driver with a horrible start. Being passed by his teammate. Rizone 3 wide at the very back. They're all splitting each other. And now Boker, the highest guy on mediums, excluding Rizone. Rizone gets up to P2. DW falling down, and F1 driver down at the back too. Very back.
God. It's around at turn 1.
Oh, a big contact! There goes DW! Big damage! More contact at the very back, heading into turn 4. Tricky part into the racetrack. You don't need to clip that turn 5 curve. You can easily screw your race over side by side between Graham and Axe. A lot of contact in the previous races between them and the chicane. Now, side by side. And Felipe and Rap Lucas making contact. F1 driver back up to P3 from those mediums. Rizone, the highest on those mediums so far. A 1 second gap to the highest mediums runner. Polo got also in 5th.
F1 driver is back up to 3rd place. He was 8th off the start. What on earth has happened for that to occur? This has been a very crazy start here at the Hungarian ring.
Sam already up to 11th from that. From 18th
Yeah.
down the grid. John leading the first lap of the race. Boker getting slipstream off of F1 driver. I realized from the Tier 2 race and the Tier 3 race, if you're within a car, within 4/10, that's square. No, that's not square. That's axe. Running on Square's account. The thing is, what I've noticed from the Tier 2 race, you need to be within 3 or 4/10 of a gap of a car with equal ERS and DRS into turn 1 to be able to pass them correctly. That's why you don't see many passes at this racetrack, because DRS is not so effective compared to the other racetracks. Rappalucas fell down off the start as well. And John is leading, but he's on the different compound of tires. CW down at the very back. Graham and Bama also pitting. Bama his birthday weekend, so he's trying to turn things around from yesterday's GSL race where he took 3 speeding penalties within a matter of 15 laps.
Well, taxes sideways on the exit of the chicane. He's under even more pressure now from GSR Axe representing the Dominant Square account. Fun, of course.
Oh, Atlantis missing the corner. Same scene might have an opportunity. Not enough. Too far back, obviously. Jack for the Racing Point team. He did combat, so he's using a different account. And Ricochet by Lord Trash for position down at 14th and 15th. But F1 drivers kind of pulled that gap to Mr. Boker, 7/10, and Polo Gods gained on Mr. Boker as well. John taking the fastest lap and leading the race again. Rezone 1.4 ahead of F1 driver, but into turn 1, Boker 6/10 behind F1 driver, and these guys won't have DRS till next lap because of the fact turn 1, turn 2 is a double DRS zone. EW by Jar.
Exactly, like the detection point is just on the entrance of the pit lane. On the right hand side on the map, you can just see as the pit lane starts, that is where DRS is detected, and there's only one of those for the 2 DRS zones. Lord Trash's pit, he was struggling. He's gone onto some fresh hard compound tyres now. Oh, Jack Berry, combat, so he's using a different account. Start turn 5.
Tax might have got in the grass there. I saw some grass kind of going up in the air a little bit. Now you got in the grass again as well through the S's. Such a tricky place to get your car in the right position. You cannot have an issue. And Polo got actually having a purple sector 2 already. So he might be in contention for a podium in this race if things go well. He's contending with Boker and F1 driver, but Rezone has that lead on the mediums. 1.6 seconds, but he's starting to gain on John as well. The 2 Honda boys up at the front, 1-2. Landis close to Axe for position. I keep wanting to call Dominant Square. Boker close to F1 driver. Pad traction through that first sector is really going to help Boker because the pad is so dominant in turn 1. That's why Polo God's running so well through sector 1. Sector 1 is such a pad type of sector in this track compared to the other racetracks, but F1 driver outrunning him and Rezone behind John. Yes, 4 position, but they're on different tires, they're on different strategies, and they're on different compounds. Well, Mr. Boker kind of in a Renault sandwich, or Alfa Romeo sandwich, and Atlantis has gone down the order and picking up wing damage through turn 4. His point streak could possibly be over after that one.
Now that is a shame. He moves out of the way. Very safely, that is the correct thing to do, so I can only respect him for that. John now, his soft tyres are going to be very, very hot and getting more and more worn. Tyre temperatures isn't the easiest thing to manage around here. They will be backing Mazelnov into the likes of F1 driver Mr. Boker and Polo God, all on the medium hard strategy.
Well, Boker's kind of caught up to F1 driver within DRS range and within overtaking range into turn 1. F1 driver protecting and almost moving under braking, but stays ahead of Boker in a change for the race lead. Rezone gets by. Through turn 1, now to turn 2. Boker not on the gas just enough to make a move on F1 driver, not even close enough. But now does John back up the pack and possibly allow Rezone to get away, or does he worry about his own race here in this position? Oh, Boker running wide at turn 4. Tax with penalty, excuse me. I mean, I'm just really wondering because of how this race goes. I know I called it extremely good yesterday, but the safety car at this track was very frequent yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised to see the safety car coming out in between people's strategies, at least at some point in this race, and maybe affecting them. Who knows when that safety car could come out, because we seen it yesterday at least 3 times, I'm pretty sure. Just 2 or 3 times from what it was, Milo, I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We at least saw it frequently. Now Boker's getting close to F1 driver. They both have DRS, which is going to affect Boker not catching the likes of F1 driver and John as much. Yeah, no, I have no excuse for that. Axe is on Square's account, yeah, just for the memes. But Axe gets by Tax for position. These two always battle on the racetrack, along with Axe and Graham and Tax and Graham. Now Tax goes by. Atlantis picking up a penalty. And through turn 2, Tax is going to stay ahead. Axe locking up. Not close enough.
Mounting inside curb as well, something you want to avoid around this circuit. It do slow you down, especially.
Getting help through kind of turn 4. Not really getting help, actually, by John holding him up. Boker's getting close as well. And we've seen F1 driver be in the position again where he gets held up. And he's been in the position where he's held other people up. But now Boker is right there to challenge on F1 driver if a mistake is there to be made. Polo guy's also there as well. Oh. Penalty for Polo. Tense. F1 driver look down the inside and enough, but Boker is within his slipstream and he's within distance range of overtaking him toward the last corner. And here comes Boker, Polo close as well, and Rappalucas behind within DRS range. Now down the inside, F1 driver goes on John, making contact.
A little bit wide.
John really gonna be screwed out with double DRS here in this position, but Polo is stuck behind John, who's on those dying soft tires. But the gap with the race lead, Rizone has a 3-second lead as of right now, and heading to turn 4. Boker to the outside, not enough, and down the order, Tax has spun it. A contact with Rumbly Fungus.
Oh, careful rejoining.
I think Sam Steen might have got a piece of that as well, or Axe, one of the two. I know someone got a piece of that. Besides the two collided of Tax and Rumbly Fungus. Polo got close to John needs to get chance, but he still might want to be in DRS, and this is a overtaking zone we saw yesterday, and he does go for it. Down the inside, he goes through. That's what he needed. To fight with the likes of Boker and F1 driver in his zone, that's something he needed. And Boker is behind F1 driver almost by a full second now. Rappalucas by John, and John does pit.
Rappalucas is really saving his ERS well. He'll be one spot out for towards the latter stages of this stint. He'll have some good in-laps as well. He's on the back of Polo Gods. Next up after Polo God is Mr. Boker, his championship rival, who he needs to beat to try and close the gap as much as possible.
Felipe, who missed last race, you know, he's ahead of Sam in the point standings. If he wants to have a chance to come back into it, he needs to do something very good today and possibly contend with all of them and beat them. DW with the fastest lap. We've not seen Felipe beat Boker, but we've seen Felipe beat Rappalucas before many times so far. One of them being Italy, one of them being Abu Dhabi, one of them being France. I mean, we've seen Boker or Felipe beat Rappalucas before, so he could do it to get up to second, but he needs to beat Boker. He needs to have an amazing performance, not just a normal performance from Felipe where he's good. He needs to be better than everyone else.
Felipe choosing to skip around really cost him some points, but he's back stronger. Oh, Tax has made another error. He has. It's all going wrong today for AMS Tax. He's lost it on the exit of turn 11 again. That's not the first time we've seen a driver do that.
No, definitely not. Speaking of that as well, the two teammates, Racing Point, are very close to each other, 7th and 8th. In position-wise, Rappalucas getting in Polo got not enough. The two Ferraris are also close to one another, Sam Steen and Ricochet, along with the two Alfa Romeos who are trying to work together to get by Boker, but Polo is not within DRS anymore, and that's something that's going to hurt him for sure. He's definitely within a great gap of Boker and F1 driver, which last season we just saw him in the gap of Rapid Lucas, DW, and the likes of them, and Tax, who fall with them, but not for the full race. Polo needs to fight with these guys for the full race. He needs to not just fight with them for half of the race or maybe a quarter of the race. He can't just fight with them for that long if he wants to have a contention for the podium. That's why in Bahrain he comes and does stuff late race. DW picking up a penalty. Not the first time this season we've seen that. He's down the order because of his pit stop on the mediums. John as well on the hards. Looking to go maybe the rest of the race as well. Should be interesting if he could do that. We'll have to find out. DRS enabled 5/10 behind F1 driver and Boker. The gap is Rizone still keeping this lead. 3.4 seconds. Is this Rizone's chance? He just needs to not spin. Calls him spin kiss, I guess. That's what he calls. I'm pretty sure whatever calls him. Yeah. I got that right, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's just not gonna win it. I mean, if Rizone wants to have the chance at possibly leading the race the way he is, look at the gap between them. And yellow flag, there's a safety car.
Virtual
no,
safety car.
Or trash out of the race down toward the end of sector 2.
Yeah, turn 11. Might have got some oversteer mid-corner and just lost it and put it in the wall. Might be deliberate, not too sure. Can't see it now. But Graham's using this as an opportunity to pit. Will any of the leaders, if the VSC stays out long enough? I don't think it will.
Hold up. Hold up. F1 driver looks to be backing up Boker into Polo God. I don't know if he's trying to do it on purpose, but teamwork from Alfa Romeo? Is he trying to do this? I mean, I know he'd want to have a chance at Rizone in this podium, but, you know, is he trying to do this DRS enabled again?
Green flag.
Polo God's actually 1.3 behind, but it looked like at the start of that VSC, he was trying to back him up into Polo God, which would have probably worked very well, but you got to think about your own race for sure. And I was just thinking because Polo God gained the gap into DRS at that point in the race. And that point under the VSC. Now the 3/10 is the gap into turn 1 between F1 driver and Boker. Equal ERS pretty much. No, not even close actually. 90 and 58% it was between those two. Rizone still has the 3.5 second lead that he has and needs. Rapalucas gaining Polo, Felipe gaining him. Pretty close between those two. Those two expect to be battling pretty soon. I would expect at least anytime in the next 5 laps, but F1 driver ran wide at turn 3. This is going to allow Boker to catch up somewhat into turn 4. Keeps it clean that time. And Boker does look to be losing some time there through turn 4, for sure, compared to the other drivers. .4 the gap between Boker, now 2/10 close between F1 driver and Boker. It stays close. So, these two, we've not seen them overtake each other yet. When does Boker get close enough? He's not using much of his ERS, F1 driver saving it all. Now, when do we see these guys pit, Milo? We're on lap 14 at earliest, I'd say?
They can definitely make that distance. I'm trying to think what we did on the mediums yesterday. Yeah, at least 15 laps.
Look how much traction he had out of that final sector. That was pretty bad. He nearly lost the car because of it.
That's the last thing he needs. He's ahead of his championship rivals. He can stick behind F1 driver for as long as possible. He could leave this late, stick with him for the entire race. Make it happen later on. He's got Polo out of DRS of him. So obviously, with all of that, you know, I mean, you want to be doing that because you don't want to have Polo catching up to him and challenging Boker and have Rapalucas and Felipe the championship contenders behind that. But look at into the chicane and penalties being handed out everywhere from a lot of drivers. Now Polo's closed that gap. Is the front driver packing Boker up into Polo here? Look at the DRS gap. Look at the gap between these two. One driver has the advantage in Sector 3 and Sector 2, so he could easily be doing that. The DRS corners are kind of after Turn 1 and before Turn 1. So, we can easily see that. Polo God's close enough with the championship rivals behind him of Rapalucas and Felipe. Rapalucas sideways.
3/10 the gap. We could be seeing an overtake soon here. For sure, look at how much closer he is. We're definitely going to see an overtake now. F1 driver defending into turn 1. Slipstream from Boker. Where does Boker go to the outside? Side by side. Switch back, not enough. Doesn't get the traction. F1 driver really... Yeah, that's what is really going to help F1 driver stay ahead. The pinching toward that curb. You won't allow Boker to do a switchback that way. You can't really go around the outside there too much. But now into turn 4, Boker close enough, 2/10, not enough for an overtake, not even close enough. But F1 driver clips the grass and clips the outside curb as well. Could have easily gone spinning there, and that could have been race ending.
Oh, Rizzo picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It doesn't affect him too much right now, but if these guys keep penalty free and a safety car comes out later on, we know how much of an impact that can have on a race leader.
Ooh. Okay, so difference between the Alfa Romeo boys and the Renault of Boker. Boker has no warnings whatsoever. F1 driver 2, and penalty and warning for Polo God. A warning for Rapalucas, and Felipe has a penalty that he just picked up. Sam Seed as well picked up a penalty, and F1 driver's trying the undercut.
Oh.
Pretty early.
What do you
Now Polo
out there?
Yeah.
To try and overtake Boker and then hold him up a little bit. There's a lot of strategical thinking going on in the Alfa Romeo racing party.
Oh god, and they're sitting, I believe, just 4th in the constructors, so they could be beating Ferrari if they just keep working together the way they do, and they could challenge even Williams, who only have Rapalucas in the points as well, and Renault only have Boker too. So I mean, only the two Boker and Polo. No, Boker and Rapalucas, the two for those teams, and Felipe just hit the back of Rapalucas. Rapalucas made a strategical error into turn 3 and turn 4, and Felipe's over the back of him, and it's holding Felipe up to the point where Axe is catching up. Felipe at the back of him.
This allows Axe to go through. Axe is
something's wrong with Rapalucas. Something's wrong.
I can't see what it is.
Does he have damage? No. What's
Doesn't
wrong
look
with
like
Rapalucas? What is wrong with him? He just doesn't have the traction. Look at this. He cannot even get the traction. Yellow flag.
Oh.
That's
Now
Bama.
Jack's having a look at the last corner.
Rapalucas is pitting. And so does the front guys, but Boker stays out. And Bama's out. Up toward turn 4. Manually retiring from the game. The 2 racing points stay out. Rizone goes to the hards. Polo God goes to the hards. Felipe goes to the hards. Rapalucas going to the hards as well. The top 6 stay out. Oh, John Jarv moving under braking. John trying down the inside. Side by side, losing the...
It's that F1 driver with damage! He just got up the pits and picked up some severe damage! It's like his hopes of a podium over now. This allows
Oh,
Polo
look at the
to get
speed!
through.
The hairpin! GW and Tax making contact, spinning around. And now Felipe charges around GW.
Oh, okay.
Wow. GW and Tax just going around right in front of them, and they had to avoid it. What have we seen in this race so far? You know, Rizone has a good gap to what Boker could be getting out of the pits. It's an 13-second gap, so Boker could be 7 seconds behind from the looks of this. And Felipe is getting held up by Tax, who I think also has damage, and Tax does have damage.
He go for the tuffle move almost. He had a...
He does go for it!
He's got into the back of Felipe.
Oh, man. And pitting is the front 5, I think. Jack stays out. Ricochet stays out. The rest pits. Rizone comes out. Where does Rizone come out? How much ahead of Boker? He's into turn 1. Boker looks to be 6 seconds behind, I think. So the undercut massively played into Rizone's hands. An F1 driver also pitting as well.
He has severe damage. He has to pit. Polo now looking for a way past Jar. He's got John as well in front of him, running on those 8 lap old hards.
He wants a chance at Boker. He has to get to him. Oh, man. Oh, Jarve just picking up a penalty and almost around!
Oh my days!
Oh
what
my
a
goodness,
save.
and he almost loses it again! Look at this!
Oh,
He almost loses it! Again!
Polo survives without any damage.
How did Polo survive from that? How? Zone close to Ricochet. Ricochet and Jack should be pitting this time. Jack is pitting this time, and Ricochet should be as well. No, he stays out. DW Rapaluke is close to Felipe. DW has some damage, I'm pretty sure. Does he actually? He was caught up in that mess. Yellow flags. That is AMS tax. Going severely slow again. Graham close to F1 driver. F1 driver also was involved in a collision. Out of the pit lane. What happened there, Milo?
I was just watching Rizal, and I really don't know what's happening at this point. How has he got around the outside of turn 3? Brilliant move there by Rizal. He needed to get it done. There is another yellow flag. It's tax around very slowly with no front wing. My word.
About to spin again.
That's
Is this gonna cause a
I
safety
can
car
smell a
by
safety
chance?
car.
Yeah, I can smell a VSC at least, at minimum.
I can smell some fishy tactics as well.
No front wing.
Where he's got the leaders coming up on him. He will have to give way despite the ghosting.
Yeah, now Jack and DW split Rapalucas because of all the stuff with what happened out of the pit lane anyway. And Ricochet pits this time. F1 driver close to Atlantis for P14. We've yet to see a safety car. We've only seen a VSC. I mean, tax right there. We could have seen a safety car from all that. Polo got close to John. Boker 6 seconds behind Rizone. I did say in the podcast, 2 first-time winners I think we could see this weekend. I don't want to curse anything just yet. Jack and Felipe go side by side through turn 1. Jack is behind DW, trying to charge
just on the
with his
inside.
teammate.
Squeezed his Felipe out there. They're still side by side through turn 3. Jack has to run wide. Still wheel to wheel. Jack stays behind Felipe for the time being.
Felipe at the curb. I thought he was going to spin there for a moment, but he goes under the runoff area just for a moment. And DW splitting these guys on the mediums, cutting some corners in the chicane. Rapalucas behind this. The only reason I think Rapalucas is still within GS range because of this is because of DW. He's still kind of getting within these guys. Jack close to Felipe again, a 10th between them. F1 driver picking up a penalty. We saw a possible podium from him. Who are we going to see on the podium now from this? Because we saw Zone Boker, those guys, they looked like they were going to be on podium. And he gets fast slap as I say that. And F1 driver looked like he was going to be on podium as well. But right now, the only thing he can be saved by is a safety car.
Rizal is just getting quicker and quicker on every lap. For now, there's no stopping him. I don't want to do the commentator's cards shenanigans, but Mr. Boker is just matching him, to say the least.
Game
Rapalucas
with the Williams
is past DW.
Obviously the switch, the driver swap between DW and Rapalucas, those guys changing positions. Rapalucas getting ahead, Rapalucas going to be faster, I'm pretty sure. F1 driver setting the fastest lap. 5/10 the gap between Rapalucas and the next car. Rapalucas needs to get to Felipe. You can't be outscored by Felipe. Especially after winning the last race too. Guys still close to the chicane. Jack and Felipe. A really great battle we saw between those two. Jack, as soon as he came in this league, he's shown great pace at the front of the field, and especially top 5 pace, that he's capable of getting great finishes in the Racing Point team, and maybe contending for a top 5 in Constructors for Racing Points. We see Graham yellow flag, and we see DW around! Who had pole? It was John who had pole. Polo got close to John as well, trying to gain for position. P3, this changes on the front straight. John moving into turn 1. Polo God stays behind. Polo got on that pad traction though. Over John's wheel. Through sector 1. Polo got has to gain. Tax with the fastest lap. Polo got through turn 2. Not enough to be gained. 6.1 between Boca and Razone. We see a gap being gained. Polo got into turn 4. Not enough. 2/10 the gap between Jack and Felipe, and Rapalucas is still right there behind. If anything happens. Halfway into the race. Atlantis' point streak could be over. We don't even know what's going to happen here. We could even easily see a safety car. Yellow flag. Tax is spun again at turn 4. Tax getting out of the way of Jarv. Graham and Atlantis try to go side by side into turn 4. Oh no, that was never going to work. But somehow, those two do not crash. I don't know how.
Oh, Tax
spinning again.
Spinella. Here comes Polo, God then. Exit of the final corner. He's got a really good exit. He's in the slipstream now. Oh, John, which way will he go? John opens up the inside. This is an invitation. It goes down the inside and gets the move completed up to P3.
Jack is by Felipe for P6. This battle continues side by side and wheel banging between the two. Rapalucas is watching this one happen and again.
Someone's donated. F1 fans donated £3 to Thrasher. Thought I'd mention that on the stream. Thank you very much.
3/10 the gap again. Polo God, John still close. 4/10 between Felipe and Jack. Tax 5 seconds for speeding the pit lane. Atlantis by Graham through turn 1. Atlantis up to 14th, but it doesn't look likely for another points finish for Atlantis. And I gotta say, avoiding the trouble and avoiding all the stuff on Dominant Square's account, Axe has done well through this race. I did not think Axe would be a contender for top 5. I thought he'd be back towards 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. But now I see Axe back there, down at P5, maybe trying to challenge John and Polo. Is this Axe's chance at a podium? Actually on track and not off a penalty. Can we see this happen? I mean, Axe has a penalty right now. Polo, I think, has a penalty as well. Polo has just a penalty and a warning. Axe just has the one penalty. John, 7/10 the gap. Felipe's lost time to Jack as well. The gap for the race lead stays at 6 seconds. Not really much being gained or lost between Boker and Rapaluca, or Razone, and Atlantis is spun down.
Round.
Turn 11. Oh, 12 races in the points. Doesn't look to make it 13 this time. And Tax.
F1
2 laps down and spinning again.
On Jarv. Up to P12 now. Not where he would have liked to be. He was controlling Boca's pace, Polo's pace. He was on for a podium. No, just went wrong with the pit stop, which is unfortunate. I don't wish that to happen to any driver.
Yeah.
He's running in a good position.
We also have John, who I've mentioned by the guys in chat, which I was going to mention earlier, who could be on the run for a podium. John yet to pit again. Well, yet to pit again, because will he pit again? Because he started on the soft. He's going to hards to the end. Can he make those hards last to the end?
I think he'll be able to make them last, but at the cost of a few positions. Dominant, sorry, not Square, Axe on the Square account, Jack, Felipe, Rapper, all closing in on those fresher tyres, so he will lose some positions, in my opinion.
He definitely has to try something for sure. You should give Tax penalties causing a safety car. He's not doing it on purpose, is he? I mean, I don't want to see him spinning again. I mean,
Yeah,
I just think he's having a bad race. I don't know. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. Yeah, I don't see him doing it on purpose. You know. I mean, he's running no traction, so no traction is pretty hard around here. Oh, John clips the curb, goes wide. He's gonna lose time and Axe with DRS now of him. So things change again. Polo God running in a podium position this time. And he's not been really running in many podium positions besides Bahrain we've seen.
never gets his attacks. Oh, it is! Oh,
in front of the field.
what a shocker.
he almost spun again. He spun it again. I'm just waiting till he DNFs. I don't know. I mean,
he was 2 tenths back going into turn 1.
EW through second time
Max comes good.
multiple warnings. Rapaluca's close to Felipe as well, but Axe is 3 tenths behind, like you mentioned. 6.3 the gap between Boker and Razone. Tax of 5 seconds in the pit lane. Oh, again. Horrible race from him so far.
Tax won't even be in the 90%. Oh, he's on wet.
Wet? Now he's fooling around. Now he's fooling around. Oh, man.
And he wonders why people say stupid Finny. There's Buds.
No traction as well. Oh, no. I'm gonna focus on this till we see the Axe and John battle again. Yeah, Tax don't care anymore, I guess. He's already had a bad race. Yeah, now he don't care. Let's just say that. 2 laps down in his Mercedes. Well, I mean, he's not spun yet. Oh, there he goes! Almost. Oh my God. All right. Anyways, Axe close to John. 4 position for P4. John 1.6 behind Polo. 6.3 seconds separate Razone and Boker. Razone, can he take his first win in ARL after so many DNFs? 2 of the last 4 in DW.
Safety car deployed!
Oh my God!
Oh,
I said 2 or 3 laps ago, hey, we can see a safety car with Tax, but hey, it's DW this time. Out of the race.
And the chat thought Tax was going to cause it. Wow. Oh, how the tables have turned.
Oh. Man. Razone has probably got to be pissed right now. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. Well, look who this puts into. Oh, okay. I talked to some drivers before this race. Hold up. I talked to some drivers before this race, and they said if there's like a 6-8 to go restart, they're gonna pit for softs. There's a 10. Well, it's gonna probably be like a 7-8 to go restart when it gets back going. Will anyone pit for softs?
Good question. Atlantis has. Razone can't double stack with him.
Oh, Tax in the pit lane! Oh my God! Tax destroyed the pit lane wall. Polo, does he? No. John might. No. Axe doesn't. This also puts both racing points back into the top 5. Or at least a chance at it. Oh, how the tables have kind of turned. Again. A whack race.
Felipe drive through speeding onto the safety car. Sam Steed is pitted as well, just like he did at Spain.
How the tables have turned. Oh, Atlantis disqualified. What? What? What is only to be described as a wacky weekend? No, it says he got disqualified. What is only to be described as a wacky weekend could possibly be described more. It popped up on my screen, disqualified.
Well, I was trying to. I might have missed it on the stream, but he's definitely still driving.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know if it's an AI. Like, look at how fast it's going. He's not going in the right line. Oh, how pissed off Razone could be, I don't know. Polo God has a penalty, but let's look at the penalties. Razone has a penalty and 2 warnings. Boker has 1 warning. Polo God has a penalty. John has 2 warnings. Axe has a penalty and a warning. Jack, a penalty and a warning. Felipe, a penalty and a drive-through. Rumbly Fungus, a penalty. So, I think the only people without penalties are John and Boker. Ricochet, 2 penalties. And around out the top 10, Rapalucas has 2 warnings. We saw, I think it was you and Adam Fab, the only 2 not to pick up penalties after the whole stuff with safety car stuff. And Jack dropping down the order.
Felipe's paying Chris
because Felipe.
Oh, he crashed! Oh my days!
I just missed the end of that.
I saw it. I'll clip it. Oh my word.
I just missed the end. I just saw the end of that. Oh my God.
Oh my.
Wow.
Felipe.
And this puts a chance at Sam and John up to a top 3 position in points after this. Oh, 4 people out of the race already. And we could be see the safety car coming in next lap, possibly. Or this lap. We could be seeing an 8 to go, 9 to go restart from this. Oh my god.
Wow. Rumbly Fungus ignoring yellow flag. I doubt he has. Ricochet. This is all for Felipe, surely.
I would assume so.
There'll be a lot of penalty appeal inquiries. Which
Yeah.
is totally fine. Need a fair outcome for everyone.
Tax also 2 laps down, 3 laps down. Oh boy. Well, what's only to be described as a wacky weekend turns even more into one. We see Polo God running in a podium position. The last time he was running in a podium position this late in the race that I could think of was probably, I don't even remember, probably France or Bahrain the last time, in race 1 and race 2. The last time he was running in a podium position this late in the race, having a chance at one. He does have a penalty, but so do a lot of other people too.
To his thumbnail. Square has a job to do. Safety car is in this lap. Atlantis will be appealing that penalty.
Yeah.
That's, unless he's deliberately cut to try and gain, which he is behind.
He should be coming in. It's up to these guys this time. Alright, Milo, you call off this restart waiver zone.
When will he bolt? He thinks about it now. He gets on the power. And away we go. Start of lap 28 here at the Hungarian ring. Result leads us away. 4 tenths to Mr. Boker, who would now have the slipstream for the remainder of this race. He is in big trouble, ladies and gentlemen.
Zone also has a penalty, let's keep that in mind. So does Polo, but Boker and John don't have any. And Rapalukas, new in the mediums, also does not have a penalty as well. So things will change in the order like we saw last week with Sam Steed's penalty, or not penalty that he had. He didn't have any penalties. Things change the order of that running. Turn 5, keeping it clean through here. Turn 4, keeping it clean through there as well. Atlantis still, I mean, it said disqualified for me, but he has a chance at points from this, even if he peels in 10 seconds. He has the chance at points. 13 races in a row he would be, but almost ending that streak from what earlier it looked like. But 6 tenths the gap between the race lead and Polo God is joining in on Boker's kind of little run at this, and Rapalukas by Ricochet. F1 drivers back into the points as well from earlier, from what happened to him. Still pretty close, 8 tenths the gap between 1 and 2. DRS will be enabled next time by, after next lap. 6 tenths the gap between Polo and Boker. Polo still close to him. Not using the DRS in the straight, now he is. Jack and Axe close, Axe kind of lagging. John inside attacks his car, which is ghosted. Atlantis by Jarv. Atlantis stays ahead. Ricochet back in the P14 from all that. Jack still close to Axe. Jack making a mistake. Rumbly Fungus in the points positions. Now in a full-time ride at Haas. For Zone, almost a second lead now. He's got to keep that lead and get him out of DRS. Boker loses off the curb. Boker!
Oh.
Attacks is out.
Polo got tries to get down the inside. They make contact. Polo spins around. It's another safety car.
And resetting onto the track. Look at the advantage that gave Polo. And he's ahead of his teammates. Who pits for softs? Who pits for softs? I'll be honest. I was kind of ready to say, hey, we could see another safety car. We have some available. But, you know, I didn't want to say it, so I can't be credited with, you know, who pits, who doesn't?
What?
Who pits, who doesn't? Softs? I don't think so.
Lucas is up to 7th now on the
Verzone has the
mediums.
leading position. Boker is behind. John's behind that as well. Track position is surely key, but can you do what Axe did in Spain and get up positions?
F1
Sam
driver
C
pits.
pits. F1 driver, there you go. Along with Atlantis. Ricochet as well, double stacking. Soft tires, I would assume, for all of them. And 14 drivers left in this race.
Yep,
And
soft
now-
tires.
John up into a podium position. Axe close to that as well. John has no penalties. He's contending with Boker, and he has 22 lap hards. John could be contending for the race win. Now, and now people say tax caused the VS or the safety car.
Oh no. Oh, this is controversial.
With Polo's reset, yeah. I want to be talking about that, and people have been talking in that chat about that reset. Jarvis on his run for his first points this season. Rumley Fungus on a run for his best finish. Jack also on a run for podium. Axe on a run for podium. His first since Monza. John on a decent run. Rizone on a run for his first win, but penalties will come into play. Graham running an AI. Atlantis is trying to keep up the 13 consecutive points finishes. Ferrari's outside the points. There's a lot to talk about for sure. There will be probably, I would assume, what, 4 or 5 to go restart?
If it goes on a lap 31, then yeah, we'll have four laps left. 32, 33, 34, 35. Counting with Milo.
Wow.
This is what safety car. This is what safety cars does to us. It's crazy.
Sure. Gotta love it. Well, I know penalties come into play, but think about all this. Take this into your mind. John is competing for this race win against Boker because of penalties. Rizone is technically still competing for a podium no matter what, but Axe is contending with them as well, along with Jack, along with Rumbling Fungus, and Rapalucas also has no penalties as well. He could come onto the podium as well, and maybe come closer to Boker. He's down in 7th, 5, 6 positions away from Boker. So, Rapalucas, you don't know what could happen with him. He has no penalties. Polo got also reset the track, which was very controversial with how that was. I've talked to some people about the resetting of the track before the race, something I've talked about. And people have not really liked the resetting of the track, how that's kind of went, because it's giving people such an advantage. Polo would probably be back down at 11th or 12th right now, at least last out of the guys who didn't pit, and he would be back there, but the thing is, he reset the track and came out 8th. So, definitely controversial, definitely something we could see by, the resetting of the track getting banned, possibly, unless you're actually stuck. We could see that in the future, after what we saw right now. I mean, what would you think would happen, Milo? Because that was just completely, like, giving you an advantage. Such an advantage. And you did the same thing yesterday, too.
Yeah, I admit that. And I did, unfortunately, someone hit me, though, so I don't know what people think about that. But, like you said, there should only be resetting if you're totally stuck or you're a solid car, because you become ghosted when you reset briefly, but it does put other drivers off guard, so they get distracted. So that could cause an even bigger collision. So it is, in some aspects, also safer than others.
Coming to the restart though, safety car is in this lap. Jack Berry's kind of backing up the pack. Jarvis got a 5-second penalty for colliding, and Rizone is on the gas now. He has a 3-second penalty, but Boker, how many warnings does Boker have? Boker has 1 warning. Now for the race lead, 5/10 the gap. John could be comparing himself to the race win if he can get to Boker, but I don't think it's enough time. Jack into turn 1, running almost in the back of Axe, and side by side between Polo and Rapalucas. Rapalucas forcing Polo off the track. And F1 driver, sideways.
Whoa! Someone just hit Graham off the track, and now he's side by side.
Polo.
Oh, he's almost lost it. It's at the path of Sam Steed. Sam Steed gets through up to the points positions. Polo's running wide in the background. Rapalucas, the penalty that he didn't need, he's got.
Oh man. Milo did not, but we've talked about resetting the track possibly being changed with the ruling. Anyways, yellow flag again. There is Polo got out of the race.
Polo.
Who was running in a podium position the whole race. Out of the race. When all looked to be going good for Polo, it did not. Contact with Boker. We can see if Boker was at fault. Did Polo come up into Boker? Did Boker wreck him? Will Boker be getting a penalty? What will happen? This could change the race win easily with all this because of the penalties and because of the post-race penalties. Anyways, Jack is close to Axe. Axe gaining on John John. 1 second between John John and him. And DRS will be enabled next lap for the last 2 laps of the race. And Jack gaining on Axe into turn 1. Sam Steve gaining on Jarv. Side by side. Sam Steve by Jarv. Rapalukas gets by Rumbly Fungus. F1 driver following him as well. We've seen F1 driver and Rapalukas come together twice before. And will they come together again?
What a move. Brilliant from F1 driver.
Very smart and at the right time. 1 second gap, but splits the kind of front 3 cars there are. And penalties, like we said, could be changing a lot of things in the end as well. Rapalukas goes wide. F1 driver's there to challenge to the outside. Now goes down the inside. Contact! There they go. And those two come together again. And it does not look pretty for F1 driver Rapalukas, but we've seen the Alfa Romeo and Williams collide so many times this season.
I think that was too desperate from F1 driver. He had the straights coming up. Because down the inside at possibly the worst place to go side by side. It's a 1-line corner. Anyway, Rizzona's scored 1.5 seconds from Mr. Boca in just 2 laps now. So if he can do it in the remaining 2 laps, he has still won this race.
Keep in mind, Rizzona's also using a lot of his ERS. So, will that die out for the end of the race because of how much ERS he's using? Boker's saving a lot still, but he's still using it. Axe gaining on John John. Remember, DRS is enabled, but they won't have DRS till the last lap because of the double DRS zone. They won't have it because it gets enabled at the start-finish line, and that detection point is at the pit lane start. Rumbly Fungus and Sam Steed go side by side off of turn 2, side by side through turn 3 still. And they're keeping it going.
Another
The
penalty!
zone!
Another penalty!
Oh my days!
Nice. Okay.
Oh no, Arizona's gotta be fuming. But Boker still could be under investigation after the race after the Polo contact. Could it be Boker or Polo? Well, I mean, we'll have to figure that out because now it's gonna be a battle between John John and Axe. If that's the race win between Boker, if he gets a penalty, I don't know what happened there. I didn't get to see the full contact, but if Boker was at fault, he could be penalized. Rizone has penalties. Axe could get on the podium from this. We don't know what's going to happen. Rizone is going to take the final lap this time. 1.6 second gap. He's on track to take his first win, but penalties-wise, won't really happen. And John John's also on a run for second as well because of this. Maybe even third. Who knows? Axe to the outside trying it. Axe battling him as well. Axe hitting the curb the wrong way. Rapalukas trying on Jack. And Ricochet by Jarv. And Atlantis battling with Rumbly Fungus. Atlantis' point streak is still up for grabs for 13 races in a row. Yellow flag. F1 driver. Going slow. Trying to maybe go for fastest lap. Graham takes the fastest lap as well. Now, Axe trying to challenge John John for a position. We can see, obviously, post-race penalties play a factor into this. We saw, like I said, Boker and Polo got make contact, but I don't even know who's at fault. I didn't get to see it. The clip will show it all. Rizone's had 6 seconds of penalties that he's been awarded in this race. Penalties for Rizone. Bottling the race win. He's going to come on track to the final 2 corners, possibly win this time. And Jack and Rapalukas go side by side. Down the inside. Forcing him off the racetrack.
Here comes Sam Steed though. He's looking for P5. They're side by side into the final corner. This didn't go too well for me yesterday.
Side by side to the line. Rizone wins on track, but Boker takes it. End of the line. Oh, man. And Axe just short of a podium, but so close between Rapalukas and Jack.
Atlantis points.
13 races in a row. And Renault could possibly have fastest lap in all tiers for the first time unless F1 driver steals it from Graham. Boker wins 5 races for now. F1 driver and Graham, this is to the line.
That's still a position. That's still a position.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know about
still
that one. I don't know about that one. I really don't know about that one. Yeah. I was F1 driver, I would just qualify myself for that one. I don't. That's no. No. That's from a fast driver. That's very unprofessional. Even from anyone, it's unprofessional.
Yeah.
Took out Graham, which Graham takes the fastest lap though, and Renault gets fastest lap in all tiers then. First team to do that in all tiers. And this doesn't include tier 2 last season with tier 1, but this includes all tiers. Boker, 5 in a row. I know he had contact with Polo God, but it didn't look too pretty. Now, is Polo at fault or is Boker at fault? I don't know if you saw the full incident, Milo. I've got to ask though, do you know at any chance who was at fault?
Unfortunately, I think it's an instant. Boker left as much space as possible without putting himself going wide. It's just not really an overtaking space. He was capitalising on the mistake, but maybe at the wrong time, unfortunately. Polo's dead on left side, whatever he thinks that might have part to play in that, but he's not happy with Graham. There's a lot of other incidents which, unfortunately, it's not a TF1 driver, straight line Graham like that's a bit unprofessional.
I don't see F1 driver racing the race he won last year. I don't see him racing the race he did last year and won. I don't see him racing it. That's my honest opinion. I'll be honest, I don't even see him racing the next 2 races after that one. He'd straight land Graham. That was dirty. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. I'm joined by Boker. I joined too. Maybe. Was it? Yeah, I did. I'm waiting for John to join us, the podium finishers. Razone, I gotta talk to you first. Make sure your audio is included. Bottling it, spins kiss, but penalty kiss, I guess. I don't know. You cost yourself the race win. How did you get the final penalty you got?
I need to get over it.
What'd you say?
I need to get that penalty removed.
I got the same tickets already.
Oh my god, I can imagine.
No, just my one, not the other one.
Well, I know how pissed off you've got to be with that last safety car, or the past 2 safety cars actually, because it looked like you were gonna win the race over Boker. 6 seconds, it was gonna be at least off of penalties. You would have won it from the looks of it. Boker was kind of catching here a little bit, little by little, but I don't think it was enough. But the safety car changed everything else. You won on track, but how close would you say you were for your first win?
I think that was mine, honestly. Like, bad.
Well, you DNF 3 races and now you're on podium again this season. I mean, it's your second podium, but I know how much you would like your second or your first win.
If I get first in ARL, Jesus Christ.
Oh, we'll have to find out what goes on in the post-race. Milo, do you have any questions for Razone?
How much will you be watching up for those track limits at Austria then? Definitely want to be avoiding a penalty.
I'd say I'm quite good at Austria. I'm not paying. You just race by race.
Yeah, definitely, Cax going on to a wrong strategy, DW spinning out. Why do you think the late race safety cars were being caused, Razone?
They done that on purpose.
And why do you think that?
Okay, was on wet. I think they done it on purpose.
Well, congratulations on P3. What could possibly be somewhere else different, and what would have been somewhere else different on the podium, but congrats for that, I guess. Boker, though, 5 wins now for this season.
Right.
4 of the 6
Right.
races you've won. Dominant. But you probably gotta think a lot of people, DW being one of them, and probably Tax with the last safety car. I mean, you were on pace for second, it looked like. You're battling with F1 driver, you're battling with Polo, battling with Rapalucas a few points. I mean, again, how do you find a way to win these races with all this?
Well, it was basically just about the strategy, because, like, I knew that I was gonna undercut F1 driver there until he went into the pit, so, and then, there was a massive train, so I was just thinking, okay, he's just gonna get held up here, so, like, and then, I saw Polo go in, and I was like, alright, fuck it, one more lap, and then I saw a massive collision, and I was like, okay, I could have gone open that, that's a big jump, so, I just went with it, and it worked, so, that opened up, worked, and then it was just like pushing so hard, like I don't even had fucking sweat drops from my hands. It's just I was trying so hard just to close up. And then the safety car came, and it's like, and I heard that. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the safety car came out. I knew it was like I was debating whether to pit or not, because there was a gap to Polo. I was thinking if I could count the medium to, I can easily stay within 3 seconds. But I just thought, why not? I shouldn't take the risk here. I can just secure the dub. So yeah, and on the race side, a few laps here, I had a little bit of a spin when it was caught on stream, and Polo just done a stupid move down the inside. I gave them all the space possible, but it just wasn't enough. And that caused another safety car, so yeah. Just staying inside for 3 seconds, so it might not be the third one, but just I don't get it then, so
Right.
on the track, boys.
Yeah, I've got to ask though about the Polo incident. I didn't get to see the full part of it on stream, but obviously you said you gave him room. I mean, I'll have to look at the clip. The clip will show it, but I mean, how did you look? Yeah, how did you look on that perspective of yourself and Polo in that incident? Because Polo was contending for a podium. You were contending for what could be the race win, and what was the race win. How do you look at that incident?
It's just a bad move from Polo, really. He shouldn't have gone for it. It's just his fault in the end. You can't go first to go there. Someone's just got back out. And as I said, they all the safe possible way.
He made it work.
Yeah. I wouldn't have to go off track just to get him to.
Yeah, that's true though.
You know, it's what it is for him. It's unlucky for him. Like, he probably would have had a podium, but it's just it is what it is for him. Like, he's just got to learn. You can't do them moves you got to buy if you can. I had stupidly bad straight line speed, but I could easily pass me straight.
Yeah. Well, you extend your championship lead. How do you look into Austria and Britain being the next 2 races then? And I know Austria is a pad track for you, I guess you could say. And how will that all work out?
Sector 2's will, and I'd say sector 3 as well, but it's still balanced towards Hanover. Like I said before, it will just be a massive train, or just like 2 people in just standing really just about. I think it will deliver some great racing, but we'll see. I think I can secure. I'll just aim for podium as always, and if we can't deserve it, yeah.
I've got to ask though about the penalties. You picked up these races. You've not picked up really only at most you picked up 1 penalty per race. Everyone was always saying before, and I've always heard it before many times. Oh, Boker, he's only got a regular corner cutting. Boker, oh, not good and strict. But how much have you proven those people wrong? Because now you've won 4 of the last 6 races. Well, not even that, 5 of the last 7.
They're just chatting absolute shit. It's easy, like, I was just not doing strict leagues, that's what it is. I could easily do strict, it's just regulars asking you to cut corners. Like, it's just that place, like, if you get warnings on regular, you've got no excuse, but I'm not getting warnings on regular, so, yeah. It's just different for each setting, like, if it's some strict points going, you've got to keep it on the track. And regularly, you can probably go pretty much 4 wheels off, which is a bit stupid, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know why people say that, because it's just absolute bullshit, but, you know. But yeah, I really listened to that, because I didn't get a penalty. I only got 1 warning, which was a pretty stupid one as well, so, yeah. Like, I could have ended this race on 0 warnings. I went into this race like, okay, I don't think I've got the best pace, but it's just about, okay, I'm not going to get warnings. I know I can push, but just keep it, just not spin and just don't get warnings.
Yeah. Either way, though, I know you saw the last corner with F1 driver and Graham. Renault extended their championship lead, though. I will say that the positives out of it, but F1 driver straight-lined your teammate. Why do you think that happened? Why? I
Wait,
mean,
what did you say?
what F1 driver Graham? I mean,
what was F1 driver think? Like, we're all in a party, me, Rafa, Dylan, and James. So, James just went to the fastest lap, of course, because you know, I'm definitely still good at it.
yep, he did.
But,
Renault got fastest lap in all tiers this weekend. First team to do it.
okay. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's a cool statistic. But I don't know why he's just fucking out like that. But you're not like, if you're in an unranked lobby, and you know, just do that all you want. That's the culture of unranked lobbies. But you're in a league race. I don't care if you're like last place. You can't do that to someone. Like, I was watching that. I was just thinking, like, he's probably going to try and take you out game. And it's like, yeah, he just tried it, but I think probably
that's why I got into that battle, because I saw it coming.
But, you know, I think Graham could have held out being inside, but it's just, you know, it's just stupid from F1 driver. In my honest opinion, that he needs a race ban, because, like, James just held him up because, like, we wanted that fastest lap.
Yeah, of course.
And
It's
it's fine,
reasonable
because
to do
it's track
so.
position, isn't it?
Yeah, it's track position. It's not like it's a lap car thing, or you're just affecting him just because you want to. He wants to keep the fastest lap. I think that's fair.
Like, it's not that bad that you just go and take him out. Like, you're not. It's just 1 point. You're out of a point. It's just don't go and just completely straight line to him for some stupid reason. Like, I don't even know why he's trying to defend this in fucking main chat, but you know, I'm not talking in that, but you know. It's I don't know what he was thinking. It's just a stupid
Now he's
move.
gonna give himself a penalty for next race, and maybe even future races.
Yeah.
I mean, we see in France what happened there with Dylan, where he ran in the back of Raves, kind of
Wait.
off the
F1
track.
driver. He just said, I might quit league racing, to be honest. That's what F1 driver just said. Sorry to interrupt, just carry on.
Alrighty, I was gonna say Dylan's penalty last time in France, when he wrecked people intentionally. He brake checked someone.
Yeah.
He gone off the track to hit Rumbly Fungus and give him damage. And then in the chicane, Raves was braking behind the pack of cars, and DW just ran into him and hit him off the track and spun him out. All were intentional incidents in the first race. DW got a race ban, and originally a quali ban from it, and 10 seconds originally. The 10 seconds was reduced, but what do you think F1 drivers should get in your own opinion, since you're always up there at the front? You know these situations, and you know these situations very well compared to the rest of the field.
Well, as Dylan I don't think he put him out of the race, but as F1 driver put Graham, just retired him out of the race, then it has to be at least. Well, I don't want to think too hard, but I think it's just a race ban at least, because it's just stupid.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, he put him out of the race. He straight-lined him.
Yeah, he just put him out of the race. But I don't think Dylan put him out of the race, but certainly
No, he
ruined
didn't.
him.
No.
But it's just, you can't just come to take the wheel off. or time, but what do you want to say? But yeah, it's just stupid and something.
Milo, what do you think of all this? Sorry, go ahead first. Go ahead, Poker. Go ahead first. I know you were gonna say something. Sorry.
Okay. I'd say maybe something on top of a race ban. Like a race ban, and maybe I think a race and quality ban is a bit too hard. Maybe a race ban in 10 seconds is just fine enough for him. But he's got to learn that he can't do that. He can moan in the chat all he wants after the race, but he can't. Or just in DMs, it's probably fair, but he can't. He's got to learn that he can't do that. Like, I get really annoyed if someone just completely takes me out, but I'm not gonna, like, I get tempted to just, okay, I really want to fucking straight line it, but like, to take him and just a bit more aggressive, and just like, okay, fucking take that, you can't. I shouldn't be saying anything, but you know, it's just, that's how it goes.
Okay, so Milo, then, sorry to cut you off earlier. What do you think of this whole stuff? And do you have any questions for Poker?
Well, firstly, it's a bit of a recurring theme lately, but once one incident is caused, then another incident is caused, then another incident is caused. It's just one of those days where there's an awful lot of retaliation, nobody can be bothered, everyone's angry, everyone's bored of the game. I was commentating WOR Suzuka the other week, and the person I was doing it with was like, you can see there's a bit more, the driver's getting a little bit more desperate now, we're getting later into the season, the game's coming to a close.
Canada and WR. You were
Yeah.
commentating that one, playing Rosie.
I was. But yeah, we're just getting to that phase now in the league. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed this season. Tier 2's been brilliant, Tier 3, the addition of that has been brilliant. Tier 1, some really surprising outcomes, but yeah, the quickest drivers in here are of course gonna get a bit hot-headed and waiting for the next game where they'll hopefully be a little bit quicker and try to, you know, stop Boku's, who everyone wants to stop. But yeah, brilliant drive, James. I know it was difficult behind F1 driver.
Oh yeah, it's breaking me really early. Like there's times I just locked up. Like I don't know if it's called on stream. I just had a really big mistake. And I was just about to in DRS because he was just broke so late. No, it's not so early. But yeah, I got past him in the end, so you know.
Yeah. Do you have any questions though for Boker, Milo?
No, not really. Yeah, no,
Congrats
I
on
don't.
the win.
Yes.
John, a long wait for you now. It's been like 10 minutes.
I was about to fall
Sorry for the
asleep
wait.
over here.
Yeah, well, you did softs to hards, and you got a podium out of it. You got second out of it. How about that?
I
Include your audio.
fucking shite pace and fucking still finished P2. Oh my gosh.
You ain't keeping
Yeah.
up, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it probably should have been P3 at the most, really.
Yeah, you
I'm
talked
still
to me
gonna
last
tell
week. Hungary wasn't one of your best tracks, though. You didn't really look forward too much to this race. You hate this track. You even said in the Tier 3 commentary. How did you get a podium out of this?
I mean, I knew I was not going to have the pace for medium to hard, so I was like, let me see if soft to hard works, and obviously they recommended it to me. And honestly, I have to be thankful those two safety cars helped me, because I would have been sliding like crazy if those two safety cars didn't come out. And obviously with Axe and like basically a train behind me, it's just like, oh great, now I gotta hold off this DRS train. So no, those two safety cars really did help me. And honestly, again, no penalties for me. 2 warnings, but no penalties. And then I did have a moment on the turn 5 curve, which scared the shit out of me, because I was like,
I saw that, I think.
I was like, don't put it in a wall or spin it, you dumbass. See, yeah.
Yeah, Red Bull with
And
you
then-
guys' team
and also, by the
got
way,
podiums,
people
all
that-
races to begin.
Yeah, and also, by the way, the two people that bullied me on that one lap, thanks for that, the time that it's spin, yeah. I got bullied in the first two corners on one lap. I don't know what lap it was, but I'm pretty sure it was DW and a Mercedes that just launched into turn 2 and about half spun me.
Might have been text. Yeah, still. Found a way to get a podium out of this race. I don't know how. Red Bull has taken a podium, like I mentioned, on every single tier race this season, or weekend. With different positions as of right now.
But okay.
Yeah. every position in the podium for you guys in every tier so far this weekend. How about that for the team?
Yeah, as a team, we're all really happy. We even said, like, before this race today, like, we've got to keep the momentum going, because ever since, I think I mentioned this, like, ever since I got the win in Australia, we've just been shooting up. Like, cause obviously, unfortunately, Hissy almost got a win. That would have been amazing if he got that. And then, obviously, Adam winning yesterday, and then leading second, so it would have been. So we've had a really good, like, last 2 or 3 weeks of really good results, so we're really happy as a team.
Austria, Britain, the next 2 races, how do you look into those 2 tracks?
Austria, probably one of my favorite tracks. It's pretty good at it, but like, I kind of questionable because I don't know if I had to work or something like that. Britain, though, that's probably one of my best tracks. So, I'm looking forward to Britain.
Let me check, I guess.
Yeah, of course, the wheel tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking to Boker, mix between pad and wheel. I mean, how do you think that's going to go at Austria, mix between that?
Yeah, I think, like Boker said, Austria it's balanced between pad and controller, obviously. Or pad and controller, what am I saying? Pad and wheel. My brain is just, no, that's just funny. No, with Austria, no, it's balanced. I mean, maybe besides Sector 2 is maybe a little bit towards the wheel in favor. But, Sector 1, I mean, it's very balanced. Sector 3, I think that can go either way either. So we'll have to see. It should be a really good racing for Austria. So.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but, you know, the consistency, you finally have some luck on your side anyway. Now that you say that, I believe you go up to possibly P3 in the standings, I'm pretty sure, after Felipe's DNF and Sam's okay race. With your podium, you go up to P3 in the standings, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, honestly, unless Boker just, not trying to curse him or anything like that, but unless Boker just absolutely just messes up in every race, I mean, the best I could probably get maybe second or third. That's about it. I don't think I have to catch Boker, because Boker's just kicking everybody's ass right now.
I mean, I could kick him for being too fast. I mean, I'm not kidding, Boker. Where I get that from. I mean, you know where I get that from, but no, I mean, the thing is, I gotta talk to you, Boker, because, people sometimes say, "Oh, well, Boker's too fast. Look at Boker too fast." Well,
I'm not saying he's too fast.
I know, but people have said that before. And the thing is, the past 2 races before the day, you didn't even lead a lap, and today you led only 1 lap. Speak to us about that. Speak to us about that.
Wait, I only had 1 lap.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Only 1 lap today. Yeah, because of the penalties.
Oh my.
And all stuff.
Well, you know, you only need to lead 1 lap to win.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean,
It's unlucky for us. In my opinion, like, there was times where I was a bit faster on a few laps and he was a bit faster. Personally, he probably should have took the win, but it's just, he dropped some penalties, which, you know, if he stayed on track, then he probably would have secured the win. But,
yeah.
Also, I know that last week with the DRS is actually stuck open. So that was, yeah.
That's what the problem was to the S's. That's what. If we finally figured that out, okay, so that's why he was struggling.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I was like, Rap Lucas has a problem. What is it? I couldn't tell because you can't see DRS stuck open in the spectator menu, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, is the
And,
Rebel's DRS was open?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
stuck open?
I was
Oh.
Wait, when
Yeah,
he was
just the fact that he
struggling?
has yeah, when you're
Yeah.
struggling and getting past, yep. Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think he got took out by Felipe as well. That's what he said.
I was wondering why I never saw him. I was like, where's Rob Luke?
Yeah.
Now I know.
It's a change for him, but you know, it's happening bad races. I was just having an absolutely shocking other race at one point and just get took out by some retard. You know. It was just waiting until
Or
that
oversleep
happened.
with your sleep schedule.
But you know,
Who knows?
5 out of 7 wins, it's a dub. But I think just also I think I want to say something else. Apparently Reese did an absolutely shocking move on Dylan in that one, so and then Dylan just retaliated, and you know, I think he saw that.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that's just what Dylan did, isn't it?
Yes, it don't show up that too.
Yeah,
and
we saw
that-
the first lap.
then he just-
Turn 3 incident.
It was absolutely, and like we had like 3 wide. I was like in the middle, and I got spun round. But F1 driver I found real of him, and he got me in his straight line again. I was like, oh, you legend. Then I also stopped behind it, but you know, I want to thank him for that.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you guys for your time and congratulations P3 John, or P2, sorry. Yeah, I don't even know where you finished with your zones, 6 seconds, so. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know at this point.
It's like, who's
Milo,
first
I
down?
gotta
He doesn't exist.
Oh well. Oh well.
No,
I was summoned.
yeah, Milo, about that race though, probably one of the more calmer races we've seen safety car VSC wise till the end of the race at least.
Yeah, it was a bit like Australia, but everything happened towards the end instead.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot
that's
of time early on in Australia when the safety cars came out then, but at Hungary, not many retirements, trains forming early on, and then everything just kick-started at the end, so.
The light race safety car again for like the,
Yeah.
what, 3 of the last 5, 6 races? I mean, something like that. Yeah, then how do you compare this to the other races? Because in my own opinion, I feel like it was a calm race, but we could have seen probably maybe a little bit cleaner racing at the end of the race. But we saw some guys who got on the podium at some points or was contending at the front who I didn't expect, such as Polo and Axe. And Atlantis keeps that point streak up again, so definitely a better race than I thought it would be. But how do you compare that race then to other races?
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of Bahrain. We saw some of the quicker race-winning contenders, podium contenders, dropping out due to mistakes and retaliation. So, it does certainly remind me of Bahrain.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking of that too. Yeah, I mean, with definitely how people going on the soft end didn't pay off as much, but still, we saw the retaliation between F1 driver and Graham. Just to kind of try to get past this lap, he was mad, but yeah, what do you think should be done over that, Milo? Since you are tier 1 head admin, what do you think should be done?
Yeah, due to consistency, unfortunately, retaliation like that. Firstly, the reasoning was behind his retaliation was Graham was holding him up. Unfortunately, it's not qualifying, and defending, as long as it wasn't dangerous defending, it's legal.
Yeah.
You're in P13. Even still, you're racing for position at the final corner, at the final lap. You don't just straight line someone. That's unfortunately not how racing works, so it will face the consequence.
Yeah, I definitely, in my own opinion, I'm definitely not the guy who leads stewarding. I just am the guy who just says, hey, what do we think of this? I'm not the lead steward or the head steward of all this, deciding what's going on with these incidents. But I definitely will say that, you know, with what happened, we gotta stay consistent on penalties and with the way it goes. DW, you know, caused 3 incidents in that one race in France. Got a race ban, a quali ban, and the 10 seconds reduced, obviously, after that. But the thing is, with that whole situation, you know, I just honestly think the difference between that, he gave him wing damage, he spun him out. But F1 driver full throttled him, just straight lined him, and made him go out of the race. Obviously, Graham Key's fastest lap from that, which, thank God, after that, all that, is definitely more deserving than F1 driver finishing the race. I mean, I definitely, in my own opinion, see a race ban coming for sure. Maybe a penalty from this race, him going behind Graham in position, maybe just Graham still being DNF'd but ahead of F1 driver, I would assume, from at least what I think. And I would at least hope some penalty for the race after the race ban, at least some small penalty of it. But yeah, at least that's what I would hope, at least from that, because that was just unprofessional driving from F1 driver.
Just imagine if F1 driver still had that steering.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh god.
Yeah, Milo did get replaced.
Oh,
Didn't you get replaced last, or didn't you replace him last race, or was it
Australia.
Yeah, it was
It was
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
The DRS zone,
Imagine.
that incident happened.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, so Hungary. For this week, that's really all we had. Austria next week. How do you look forward to Austria, Milo, and especially for yourself in Tier 2?
Firstly, I literally go spray to the Codemasters weather gods that it doesn't rain. We've had 3 and 6 rain affected races in Tier 2, and I don't want monsoon again. That was hard enough as it is. But yeah, we'll see a lot of DRS trains, so the 3 DRS zones, very short track as well, so the lap times will be low and close. Think back to LGRL on Wednesday, 1,000th was the difference for pole position, with Rizal beating Term. So, bearing in mind that race had mixed conditions, we saw Rizal spinning early on. Where's the thing? Oh, Polo and Boca on the final lap. There was some penalty controversy, which was obviously immediately reverted because the game is just stupid. Expect to see things the same. A lot of drivers that are in here that are in LDRL, dynamic weather too. There's a lot of similarities nowadays, so just looking forward to it.
Yeah, that is true. Well, to find out what goes on, I think definitely the DRS is going to be more effective. If you're 6 tenths, 7 tenths behind a car, you go ERS, you're usually going to close up till turn 4 with a 1/10 gap at least, if you're at least getting the turns right compared to the other driver. I definitely think the Tier 2 race will probably be the best if it doesn't rain. We go into Tier 3 this weekend. We could see a first-time winner. We've seen first-time winner with Davis last time out. We also saw Dada Lucas almost win the race, it looked like, or was in contention to do so, but choked it, and he goes into his 5th race, 5th start, and Rappa Lucas won in his 5th ever start, so I see a pattern there. At least I see possible stuff like that. I mean, that's what I see. Rappa Lucas won in his 5th start in Canada last season, and so Dada Lucas could possibly do that. We could obviously see that's all to be determined and to find out for the future. Anyways, that's really about it. Thank you guys for watching, and that's really it from Hungary. Make sure you guys tune in for Austria, and we will see you guys then in Austria for next week.